The big man, Bill O'Reilly, joins me right now. Thank you very much for making time for me. Help me with the easy one first. I don't get the Epstein delay because I don't believe this is a cover-up for the president. I don't believe it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't believe it. But if it's not that, then why don't they do what's so obvious, what you or I would tell them to do? Just put out whatever you have. Why not?
Nobody knows. I don't know. And when I talked to President Trump eye to eye on March 17th, he had no problem putting out the Epstein information that Bondi had with the redactions. And that was it. You know, it was maybe a 3-minute conversation that combined the Kennedy and Martin Luther King files and Epstein. But he wasn't tense. He wasn't any of that. So I don't know why they don't try to cap this thing, because the tariffs look to be working for Donald Trump, and you're not going to get any coverage on that as long as Epstein is in the air.
I agree. However, I actually think it's working for Trump on the tariffs. I'm not with you on it, Bill. Do I believe that he had the right, and it may have been a right move to try to use him as a negotiating tactic? Absolutely. Get better deals for America? Great goal, even if you fail. Great goal. However, the way he did it put us into not only a trade war, but it put us into an economic negative cycle that we are now starting to see. You can point at the stock market, but you talk to the people who do this, and you and I both have them in our lives. It's about the Mag 7. It is a very narrow growth in that market, and it belies problems with employment, problems with small businesses, problems with pricing, and problems with inflation that are all starting to build because of the tariffs. I think they're a win because they didn't kick in, and now they're becoming less so, and I think it's a big problem, Bill.
Trump and MAGA believe the tariffs will kick in and start to drive the economy forward with more money in the Treasury to pay down the national debt, and that these brick and mortar deals, Apple, will provide much higher paying jobs to people fairly quickly, within a year and a half. But Americans are impatient people. And we're getting hosed on 3 fronts. And the folks are really suffering on 3 areas. Number 1, food. So the food companies don't want to bring the prices down. They want to keep the prices they artificially rose during the supply line problems under Biden. So everybody remember, that's when the thing just skyrocketed. Well, the food companies don't want to bring it down. It's not a matter of they couldn't. They could certainly bring it down. They don't want to.
Yeah, they don't want to.
Second is insurance costs. Right, they don't want to. Insurance costs are just punishing working Americans. And that should be investigated by the feds. Because if you can spend tens of billions, maybe hundreds of billions of dollars on advertising with Patrick Mahomes and some lizard and some liberty, and then you're gouging older people to get the drugs they need, something wrong with that. And there's got to be...
I agree.
And I would suggest to President Trump that he laser lock into that. And the third one is you've got food, you've got insurance, and then you've got meds, okay? And the meds, that's pharmaceutical. Trump is very interested in that. So I expect in the next couple of weeks there will be a little onerous pressure put on the pharmaceutical companies to be reasonable, just reasonable. But
well,
it
look,
is
I think
a
that
race
those 2 things
to
you outlined,
the border, Cuomo. Yes.
A race to the border, why?
Which is going to happen first? The midterms.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about. I thought you were pivoting. I thought you were pivoting to immigration.
It's whether.
And I was going to say, I agree.
You know, look, Elizabeth was correct. The overriding motivation to vote in the midterm is going to be economic. It's not going to be some kind of foreign affairs even immigration's under control now. It's going to be how much people are paying for stuff that they need, essentials of life. So Donald Trump's got to pivot into that area.
Yes, I agree. Well, areas, plural, okay? Look, this Russiagate stuff doesn't take anybody anywhere good. It didn't the first time around. It won't now. All the lawfare always winds up just being a loss for the majority. He would be much better off focused on insurance and pharmaceuticals. I have not seen any indication of that. I hope you are right. Because on the economy side, these tariffs, you can always say a couple of years from now, it's not how politics works. And I know why he's pressuring Jerome Powell. Powell did the right thing not raising rates because everybody knows that he's got to worry about employment and he's got to worry about monetary policy. And there's a lot of pressure on making jobs right now because people are letting people go and they are planning for these tariffs. I had sound from Lutnick. Lutnick said on this show, 10% tariff doesn't hurt anybody. Not true. No, not true. He said, you get to 15 or something more like, and then I'd be worried. We're beyond that. We're beyond where he said he would be worried. It's going to be functionally about 20%. And you combine that with cutting food stamps and cutting Medicaid. You're hurting people who clung to MAGA as a better way for them.
Some people get hurt, but I don't see the doomsday scenario that you're laying out at all. Employment's a little more than 4%. Yet people not looking for a job is at the highest level it's ever been in this country. These are layabouts. These are addicted people. They don't want to work. They want the Democratic Party to give them stuff. As far as remaking the economy, it's a brilliant strategy to bring back manufacturing to the United States and not rely so much on service jobs because the wages are higher in the manufacturing industry. The unions prosper. We can sell more cars abroad. All of that is good. So I'm not the doomsday scenario guy that you are on this one. I have a couple of other things on Epstein. I hate this story, by the way. I invited Kash Patel to interview with me, turned me down, which is fairly shocking. Over the years, I've had a respectful relationship with him. He clearly didn't want to come up against me. He did some softball interviews with other people he knew he could handle.
I mean, but would you, if you were advising Kash Patel, would you tell him to sit down with you when you know he was selling stuff that he now says wasn't true? You would tell him to sit down with Bill O'Reilly.
So he can just say, look, that's an easy answer. You can say, look, before I didn't have access to the information I have now. That's easy. You can swat that one away. Bongino, I never thought should be in federal government. He made his living on conspiracies. I don't respect that. I don't respect him. But Patel, I do respect. And I think that he should sit down with you and me and maybe the three Americans and explain what the deuce is going on. That's his job. Now, he takes orders from the White House. Everybody should know this. We've gone over this. Everything's run out of the West Wing. Everything. So Bondi's not going to release anything unless she's told to. The other thing is that you have had Dershowitz on quite often. Dershowitz clearly says there's no downside or deficit for Trump, and he would know.
Right.
And is he lying? I don't think he's lying. I mean, that would be almost inconceivable. From what I understand, Ghislaine Maxwell, who never should be pardoned in a million years, in fact, I'd send her to Devil's Island if I were president. She'd be on a little boat going off the coast of South America. Okay? She said to the DOJ people, Trump didn't do anything. It was domestic flights that he took. But here's the real interesting part about the story that you haven't mentioned. This is payback for the Democratic Party trying to link President Trump to some kind of heinous crimes that Epstein was responsible for. So what's happening now? Well, enter Congressman Comer, who's subpoenaing all of these Democrats. You know, Bill Clinton took 17 trips with Epstein, 2 of them without Secret Service, which is hard to believe, okay? He's been subpoenaed to come in, as has Hillary, as has most of the Justice Department people under Obama and under Biden. And this is payback time. This is like, did you ever see the movie Scarface, Cuomo? Al Pacino? Did you ever see that movie?
Yes, my little friend.
Right, now, say hello to my little friend. That's what this is. Okay? That's exactly what it is. So Trump's sitting in the White House going, okay, you want to play? You want to play? Okay, we'll play. We'll play. And then that's what's going to happen. Now, that's all in September and early October. That's going to be hysteria, mass hysteria, when those people are going to come in.
That's terrible.
And what are they going to do?
But it's
Take
so
the
terrible.
Fifth Amendment?
It's so terrible for the country.
Wait, before you say it's terrible
for the country.
Wait.
Unless one of them is
may be
actually
right.
connected to a pedophile, then I'm with you. Then I'm with you. But I'm saying
you may
otherwise
be
it's
right.
just payback.
I don't see this as a positive for the country. But Trump's a human being. And he's watching the Democratic Party in alliance with their enablers in the corporate media try to just bludgeon his reputation. What would you do? You sitting up there. I'd do the same thing. I get
Bill,
my little friend out, and boom, right in there.
But, Bill, I don't disagree with you. But that would be us at our worst. And that's why we shouldn't be president of the United States.
It's not about
president of the United States, a leader has to be better than how the average person acts at their worst.
You have to send messages.
All right, I gotta go.
You have to. I know. Dusty is saying she's got to go. Go to my YouTube, youtube.com/Bill O'Reilly, and you'll be a lot smarter, Cuomo. I don't know if I want you to be any smarter, but if you go to YouTube, you will be.
You don't want me. You don't want me to be anything other than the dope I am. I promise you that. Bill O'Reilly, thank you very much. Appreciate you. Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.